Good morning all. I welcome you all on the behalf of StudyIQ IAS English. My name is Pritesh Mathurkar. Warm regards to everyone, those who are joining me for the first time or also those who are continuing with me in these sessions. I welcome you all to this very drastic endeavor. I'm calling the word drastic because the approach which I will be taking with each and every one of you is going to be slightly different. Okay. So those of you who are joining me for the first time, the name of this session itself is the Hindu analysis zone. Okay, why do you require analysis and what it actually translates into? You need to remember these two things, guys. If you see the trend of UPSC, okay, the civil services examination, so the examination is not static, it is ever evolving. Okay, so the questions that come each and every year, they tend to have some analytical nature, they tend to have some nature with regards to understanding the issues in depth. Okay, so hence the analysis of newspaper becomes very important, wherein using that analysis you can utilize the knowledge, and using that utilitarian value of newspapers you can score good marks in mains per se. Okay, I have been very vocal, I have been very adamant from the day first that any content you watch on this channel should needs to be used from getting marks perspective. Okay, it needs to have a utilitarian value. Okay, so please be hungry for marks in mains. Whatever I will be discussing, I will be primarily discussing from the purview of getting you good marks only, because that is the ultimate goal of this endeavor. So please bear in mind that the sessions in the current affairs discussion, or rather the current affair analysis, will have a direct utilitarian value from the mains perspective and as well as from the prelims perspective. Okay, so before moving forward, I just need to update you with regards to the flow of the lecture. So the typical flow of lecture is like this, that every day I bring in the detailed discussions of the important articles of the present day Hindus. So today's discussion is of 3rd of May. So in today we will be having the discussion of articles which are important with regards to today's Hindu, whatever the current affairs are happening in India, and I will be discussing with you only those articles which will be important from the mains and the prelims perspective. So every day we won't have more than 5 to 6 articles, and these articles will be pinpointed by me. So again, I'm pointing out the same issue with everyone. You as an aspirant, what's your role in this session? So before coming to this session, you should all do what? You should all first undergo the present day Hindu on your own. You should first download the digital copy, or if you have a print copy, you should mark the articles on your own. And once you have marked up the articles on your own, you should see whether those articles match with me in these sessions, because this will give you confidence. And guys, confidence is very paramount in civil services preparation. If you are confident enough that, oh, let anything happen, we will score all India rank 1, and that what I can say, that feeling, okay, that flamboyancy is different. Once you get the photo of yours on the front page of Hindu, just imagine what immense joy you will get, what immense happiness you will get. Okay, so this is basically Hindu analysis. So one day I want that I should be doing analysis of you too as a case study in these sessions. Okay, so that's my ultimate endeavor with everyone, and all these PDFs will be readily available to you on a Telegram channel once this session is over. So I upload this PDF sharply just after this session is over, so that once this session is over, you will go through the PDFs, you will summarize the content which I am asking you to summarize, and your current affairs are taken care of. Remember guys, in mains, your work is going to suffice you, not any other work. Okay, if you have a plethora in the sense, like not a big plethora, but a small plethora of all the current affairs, and that has been compiled by you especially in your handwriting, so it will do wonders in your all India rank and your mark score in mains. So please be very adamant with regards to this, that you shouldn't rely on anybody except the newspaper, except me, and your own material for current affairs. And mind you, in these sessions I will not go outside the purview of that particular article, because I know many of you, or rather dare I say 95% of you, those who will be watching these sessions, you are all new aspirants. So the language of newspaper does become very difficult for new aspirants. Hence, I don't tend to diverge outside the purview of the article. I don't tend to converge as much information in the article as possible. Okay, So we will be sticking primarily to the present days articles in every session, and slowly, gradually, you and me will both win the race, because slow but steady always wins the race, and that should be your guiding principle in civil services preparation. Guys, this is not an examination, this is basically a test as to how you can implement the job which the Constitution of India will entrust on you, okay, which the people of India want you to do. Okay, it's a government service. The name of the examination itself is civil service. Okay, so treat this preparation as a preparatory course for that service which you are going to give to the society. And the articles which I will be discussing primarily will be from that purview itself, which will help you in developing your character, your personality as a civil servant aspirant, and finally as a officer, whatever officer you dream to be. Okay, so let's move ahead with our discussion. So let me just introduce you to all today. First of all, my name is Pritesh Mathurkar. I will be your primarily faculty for handling of the analysis of the Hindu every day. So we are sharp live at 9 a.m. every morning, so that you can have a working understanding of the current affairs. Okay, you can reach out to me on a Telegram channel called as HAZ. I have deliberately kept the channel name as HAZ on the lines of SEZ, the Special Economic Zone, so that you remember this channel. And what you need to do, you just need to do a global search on Telegram at the Hindu Analysis Zone. My bad, it's not at the rate, it's basically at. So just search on Telegram, do a global search above in your Telegram at the Hindu Analysis Zone. In this channel, you will find a detailed PDFs of everyday's Hindu, and please use those PDFs as a guiding document in your preparation, so that you have a working compilation of current affairs and you score good marks. I'm again reiterating, you can just do a global search on Telegram at the Hindu Analysis Zone. The name of the channel is HAZ, Hindu Analysis Zone. Okay, so let's move ahead with the discussion of today's articles now. Every day I give you a severity score of the articles. Okay, how important the articles of present day are, and what can you expect from the present day's articles in the civil services examination perspective. So yesterday's severity was between 5 to 6, rather 5 to 7. Only one article was very important of yesterday's Hindu, that is the article with regards to the discretionary power of the Supreme Court enshrined under Article 142 of the Constitution of Republic of India. Today's severity score of the article ranges between 7 to 8. So today's articles are rather fairly important, and today's articles are important both from prelims perspective as well as from mains perspective. See guys, on some days you will have certain articles in which you can use the information for discussion in mains also and for discussion in prelims also. Okay, discussion rather, answering the MCQs in prelims. So today's articles have both of the utilitarian value. So you have simple one-liners which come in prelims, you have simple match the column that you have in prelims, and in mains you have detailed discussion of the same issues. Okay, so please make sure that you understand today's articles from both perspective, from prelims perspective as well as from the mains perspective, and that is my primary role with you all. Okay, and today's article you will also find one particular article on gig economy, which is a continuum of the articles which we have discussed in the previous session. As I already told you guys, if the issue is important, it will first come in the headlines page, then it will come in the editorial page, then if the issue is extremely important, it will come in a page which has been exclusively formulated for you all guys by the Hindu. Okay, and the name of the page is text and context page. So today you will find two issues which have finally come up in the text and context page, and both of the issues have been discussed very holistically. Okay, so please understand those articles too. So let's move ahead with the discussion of the first article, which I think is rather important from both prelims and mains perspective. Okay, outlawing India's trade tariffs. So this is an article with regards to the GS paper 3 perspective with regards to the World Trade Organization, and what you need to remember in this article is terms. Okay, the terms are very important in this article from the prelims perspective. The issue is important from the mains perspective, but the terms are important from the prelims perspective. So please see that you utilize this article very properly. Now exactly what is this issue? Okay, so I'm just first reading and then we will highlight the issue. On the complaints brought by the European Union, Japan and Taiwan, Three World Trade Organization dispute settlement panels have found India's tariff on certain information and communication technology products such as mobile phones inconsistent with India's WTO obligations. Okay. Now, what is the premise of the formation of WTO? WTO stands for World Trade Organization. So, the organization tends to do what? Intends to do what? It intends to promote a trade which is based on a policy of free and fair. Okay, the trade needs to be free and fair. Tariffs needs to be regulated globally so that none of the countries in the world are facing the adverse consequences of tariffs. So, the premise being that certain European Union countries in the European Union, countries like Japan and Taiwan, they have filed a case against India in the WTO appellate panel that the tariffs which India is imposing on the ICT products are not obliging with the global trades and tariffs policy. Now, you will need to understand this from two things, from two perspectives. Number one, why India is imposing such kind of tariffs? Because you all know that in India we have launched a program called as Make in India. Okay, in Make in India we are promoting what? We are promoting local domestic production. We are promoting local domestic sourcing of the components. Because of this, number two, we tend to generate what? We tend to generate local employment. Recently, Apple opened up some stores in Mumbai and Delhi, and Apple is now also sourcing some of the components of it locally in India. Okay, we are basically assembling. Some of the industries are sourcing components locally with regards to solar panel too. So India needs to do this. Why does India need to protect its ICT industry with regards to mobile phones, with regards to computers and the information technology products? Why? Number two things are important. Number first, the Make in India program, and number two, employment scenario in India. So any discussion on this issue in mains, your answer is incomplete without you bringing in the issues of employment and you bringing in the issues of Make in India in this answer. Okay, so specifically the panels concluded that India has violated the Article 2. This is important from prelims perspective on the General Agreement of Tariffs and Trade, GATT, because India's tariff breached the goods schedule. Okay, so the panels have concluded what? The three panels. Okay, the panels, which three panels? The panel led by European Union, the panel led by Japan, and the panel led by Taiwan. Okay, all of these three panels have concluded what? That India is violating which agreement? It is violating Article 2 of the Goods and General Agreement on Trade and Tariff. So GATT agreement, article number 2, India is violating. What India is violating? It is violating the goods schedule in that agreement. Okay, now what do you mean by goods schedule? This is important from prelims perspective. Okay, right now please mention this. The goods schedules are based on the World Customs Organization's classification system, which are catalogs traded products with specific names and numbers. This is also known as the Harmonized System of Nomenclature, HSN. Due to continuous emergence of new products owing to technological innovations, the HSN system is regularly updated to reflect new products, also known as transposition. So three terms are very important in this. Number one, you need to remember what do you mean by goods schedule. You need to remember what do you mean by goods schedule. Okay, you need to remember what is HSN, and you need to remember what is transposition. What is transposition? Okay, so in crude words, if I'm explaining you what do you mean by goods schedule, so it is nothing but a global inventory of all the custom goods which are traded globally under the purview of WTO. So any good which is traded, it will come under the goods schedule perspective. So I'm again reiterating, the goods schedule are based on the world's custom organization's classification system, which are catalogs traded products with specific names and numbers. So just imagine if this marker is being traded, so this marker will have a catalog name, this marker will have a catalog number under what? Under the world's customs organization. Okay, and this will be included in the goods schedule. Okay, this is also known as Harmonized System of Nomenclature. Why? Because this marker can be traded within any of the countries of the world. So this marker can be traded globally. So if this marker is being traded globally, you need to have a harmonized nomenclature so that this marker finds the same number, finds the same name in the catalog globally. So it's just like you are going to a restaurant and you tend to order something in the restaurant. So you know, if you go to a restaurant, you will have what? Harmonized nomenclature system. So in the beginning you will have salads, in the beginning you will have soups, in the beginning you will have appetizers, in the beginning then you will have main course, after main course you will have desserts. Sorry, I'm bringing this discussion in the early morning. I know majority of you must be hungry. So even I'm hungry, but let's move ahead. So basically, if you're going to any restaurant, you do understand that you have a harmonized nomenclature system. Okay, and the goods rather, or the dishes in that nomenclature system is what you call as goods schedule. And if you go to a normal restaurant versus if you go to a fancy restaurant. So if you go to a fancy restaurant, they will have more number of items, so they need to update that. So if new dish is being discovered, you need to update your harmonized nomenclature system. If you are getting good chefs, if the chefs are producing some good dishes, so you need to update your menu card. So similar thing needs to be happened in the goods schedule too. And whenever new goods are added into that, it is called as what? Transposition. Okay, so please understand that due to continuous emergence of new products owing to technological innovation, guys, please remember this word. Why do we require transposition? Because of technological innovation. So 1000 years back, this marker was just a eucalyptus pen. Okay, it was just a tree stem. Then you had the emergence of writing tools. Okay, 1000 years back you had the first pencil, then you had the first pen, then you had the whiteboard marker, and today I'm having the digital marker. This is called as stylus. So this is basically technological innovation. So you need to update this in the harmonized nomenclature system, and this updation, this is called as what? Transposition. So you need to remember three terminologies from the prelims perspective. Number first, you need to remember the goods schedule. Number two, you need to remember the harmonized nomenclature system, and number three, you need to remember transposition. Okay, these terms can directly be asked in prelims. Okay, so now let's understand the reasoning of the panels and why the India is opposing that. Okay, guys, this article is fairly technical language. Okay, so I'm highlighting only those issues which are important from your angle and the language which you all can understand. Okay, you don't need to get frightened with regards to the language, guys. See, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint race. Slowly you will improve upon your language as you go to everyday's Hindu. For me, this has been a journey of more than 8 to 9 years of preparation. Okay, if I'm highlighting you my case, so I became comfortable with Hindu after approximately 1 to 1.5 years. Okay, why? Because I didn't have a good approach. I didn't know how to approach the newspaper. Hence, guys, I have started this endeavor on the behalf of StudyIQ with you all, so that you get comfortable with the language and you master the skill of analysis of Hindu in your early preparation cycle itself, so that the later phase of your preparation you can exclusively devote on improving your content and revision. That is very important, guys. Okay, so let's hear the arguments with regards to the panels and regards to the India too. Okay, the panels also rejected India's contention that its commitment under the ITA are static. Now you need to understand what is ITA. Okay, so what India is saying, to justify its high tariff rates, India argued that it is binding tariff commitments on ICT products are contained in the WTO's Ministerial Declaration on Trade in Information Technology Products (ITA) agreement, which India joined in 1997. So what India is saying, that the high tariffs which India is laying on the goods, on the import of goods from the outside countries with regards to ICT, they are why? Because India its stance, because India has already signed and joined the WTO's Ministerial Declaration on Trade on Information Technology Products (ITA), and India has joined it in the year 1997 itself. So India is saying that as we have joined this, so you imposing or you going against us under the purview of the good schedule is not done. Okay, whereas what members are saying, the members are rejecting India's contention that its commitment under ITA are static. India argued that its commitment under the goods schedule do not include the products that emerged due to technological innovations after the conclusion of the ITA. Okay, so what India is saying, that any new technological innovation which has come under after the signing up of ITA, it will not come under the good schedule of the WTO. So you need to remember this. What is India's stance? India is saying that we have already signed a agreement called as ITA in the year 1997. So any new technological innovation coming after this will not fall under the good schedule. Whereas all the three panels are saying exact opposite. Okay, but the panels held that the ITA cannot override the tariffs commitment given in the India's good schedule. Okay, so India also has its good schedule. The panels are arguing what? That ITA cannot override the commitments given under India's good schedule. But India is saying we have already signed the ITA, so any new innovation after the ITA will not fall under the good schedule, whereas the panels are saying exactly opposite. So this is the crux issue between the India and the panels. You have three panels. You have European Union, you have Japan, and you have Taiwan. And you all know, guys, Japan, Taiwan, European Union, they are at the forefront of the development of new technologies with regards to communication. Hence, that is the issue. Okay, so now let's move ahead. What will this affect in India? Accordingly, the panels have recommended that India reduce its tariff rates and make them compatible with its good schedule, but it is unlikely that India will comply. Compliance would mean dismantling the high protective tariff wall that India has erected, hoping it will boost domestic manufacturing of ICT products. In fact, India, relying on Article 17 of WTO Dispute Settlement Understanding DSU, is likely to appeal against the panel ruling. Okay, why India needs to appeal against this ruling? Why India needs to appeal against these three panels? Why? Because if India does not do this, the high protective tariff which India has imposed on the outside world to protect its local industries, to protect its local domestic manufacturing, to protect its avenues of employment will suffer. So indirectly what will suffer? Make in India. Indirectly what will suffer? The employment in India. Okay, so India now needs to do what? India now needs to appeal against this under the dispute settlement mechanism of WTO. And what is the article under which you can appeal? It is the Article 17 of WTO's Dispute Settlement Understanding. It is called as DSU, Dispute Settlement Understanding, and is likely to appeal against the panel ruling. So in this case, you need to remember what are the options for India, because this can be asked in with regards to mains. So it can be asked like, what are the options available for India in the future? So the option available to India is Article 17 of DSU. Okay, DSU will stand for Dispute Settlement Understanding. So this is the option available to India if India wants that Make in India should not suffer. So please remember this issue only. Okay, then relying under the Article 25 of DSU, EU and few other WTO member countries have created an alternative appellate mechanism, the Multi-Party Interim Appeal Attribution Arrangement (MPI). However, India is not party to do this, and India will not use it to resolve its dispute. So there is another article under the DSU, Article 25. Using this article, the European Union and some of the other WTO member countries, they have even formed a different body to deal with such issues. But India is saying that we will not become a party, we will not become a member of that body. Okay, we will not party the body. Why? Because if India again comes under the MPAI, again you will have to reduce the tariffs and India's manufacturing industry will suffer. So in this article, guys, you just need to remember these 5 parameters. I'm again quickly summarizing the article for you all. What do you mean by this article? What are the rulings and what India has in with regards to its options in dispute settlement mechanism? Okay, so I'm quickly summarizing the article for you all. Okay, this article is with regards to the protective tariffs which India has imposed on the import of the ITC products, on the new technological innovative products with regards to communication technology like 5G. Why? Because India needs to boost its local domestic manufacturing, Make in India, and India needs to boost the local employment avenues too. So recently you have the ruling by three panels, ruling by the panels of European Union, by Japan and Taiwan, and they are saying what? That India is violating the good schedule or the article 2 of the GATS agreement. In the good schedule, you have what? You have harmonized nomenclature system. So globally, any good is traded, it is having a specific name, it is having a specific number in the good schedule, and if any new technological innovation comes, you need to update that, and that is called as what? Transposition. I'm again reiterating, it is called as transposition. Okay. Now, what is the crux issue basically? India is saying that, sir, we have already signed an agreement called as ITA in the year 1997. Under this agreement, any new technological innovations being developed after the year 1997, they do not come under the purview of the good schedule. Whereas these panels are exactly advocating the opposite. They are saying, no, India, you cannot do this. Any technological innovation post 1997 should come under India's good schedule. Okay, now what India can do? So India has got only one option. India can use Article 17 and India can use that for dispute settlement understanding of the WTO. And what are the options left for European Union? European Union, they have already formed an appellate body. The body is called as Multi-Party Interim Appellate Attribution Arrangement, MPAI, to basically oblige India, or to make basically oblige India compulsorily. But India is saying that no, we will not join that body, because if India joins, again, Make in India initiative, the local employment will suffer. So that is the crux of the article. And what is the way forward? What is the ultimate way forward? And what needs to be the future scope of India? Guys, it needs to be a diplomatic approach. Now, please understand this very properly, those of you who are watching me. So please understand this very, very properly. Okay, whenever a country like USA comes, whenever a country like France, Germany comes to the global meetings of WTO, they bring in with them plethora of ambassadors, they bring with them plethora of negotiators, lawyers, everything. Whereas whenever India goes to these meetings, India is severely understaffed. This has been the global scenario as of now. But guys, you need to you need to congratulate the officers of Indian Foreign Service, of the Indian Trade Service. Like, if you qualify civil service examination and if you go into Indian Trade Service, basically you will be handling all these issues on the behalf of DGCT, Director General of Foreign Trade, DGFT. Okay, so I pray that some of you do handle these issues, because these issues are very precarious with regards to India's foray into the digital sector. Okay, so India is severely understaffed in all of these rulings. So what you need from India's perspective is that India should be represented properly and with an aggravated stance on these global issues, because it has been found historically that in this ruling, normally the global West wins with regards to the global East. So hence the way ahead or the future scope must be diplomacy must tread cautiously. Okay, notwithstanding the above, EU has developed a legal mechanism according to which if a country files an appeal against a panel under Article 17 of DSU into the void and refuses to use MPAI to resolve the dispute, EU can unilaterally impose trade sanctions against the losing country. The EU's objective is to use the stick of trade sanctions to push countries like India to join MPAI. What do you mean by this? Okay, so now let's say India is using Article 17 and India is resorting for dispute settlement. Okay, European Union has already formed an appellate body called as MPAI by using the Article 25, and they will do what? They will coerce India. And if India does not join that, and if India does not oblige that, so the European Union has already developed a legal mechanism under which if India does not oblige to join under MPAI, EU can impose trade sanctions on India. So guys, this is kind of forced diplomacy, this is kind of forced obligations on the part of India. So this is not done. So what needs to be the future scope? However, okay, individual countries like India can't be held responsible for missing appellate body. Even if the EU does not impose trade sanctions, it might use this ruling as a bargaining chip in the ongoing free trade arrangements. Thus, India needs to trade cautiously. Why India needs to trade cautiously? Because European Union is very notorious. Okay, they can impose trade sanctions against India, and you already know we have trade deficit globally on a very large scale. So India cannot use this. Okay, India cannot be made obliged to such kind of agreements, to such kind of arrangements. So from your angle, what needs to be your concluding statement in your answers, that India should be represented with a very aggravated stance against these issues. You cannot have the unions like European Union basically dictating India. Okay, they cannot dictate us what we should do and what we should not. So guys, this article was very important from prelims perspective as well as from the mains perspective. You need to remember what is the article, what are the important terms from prelims perspective. Again, I am reiterating, prelims perspective, you have the good schedule. Under article 2 of GATT, you have the thing called as HSN, Harmonized Nomenclature System, HNS. Then you have transposition, you have ITA agreement of 1997, and you have what, article 17, dispute settlement understanding, and article 25, wherein the European Union has already formed an appellate body and they are forcing India, if India does not join, they will impose what, they will impose trade sanctions on India. Okay, so please keep this article with regards to your understanding on the aggravated stance of India with regards to protection of local industries in India. We need to have some local protection, otherwise you all know that if we open up the market incessantly, all the foreign companies will flood and they will start doing what, they will start exporting all the labor out of India, and we don't want that. And where the labor will go, of course it will go to China or it will go to Southeast. We don't want that, guys. We want local employment, hence this article becomes very important. Okay, so this was the most technical article of Hindu as of now when we started the discussions with regards to the analysis. Hence I took a little bit more amount of time, but I hope this issue is now clear to you all. So let's now move ahead with the discussion of the other article, which I told you already has come now in the explainer section of the text and context page. Okay, this article is with regards to the gig workers, what are the issues that they face and what are the regulations, or whether this market is regulated or not. Okay, so recently you have a strike going by the workers of an app called as Blinkit. Okay, Blinkit is owned by Zomato. Okay, 10-minute, 15-minute delivery. Now you can also have 10-second delivery in the future if you have teleportation. Jokes aside, guys, so in this explainer article you will get all the definitions. So please don't rely on any other material except this for your understanding of gig economy. Just one article, guys, it's enough for you to prepare for the mains perspective. So if you go for searching hundreds of sources, please don't do that. Only do this article, it is taken care of. Guys, you don't have to even rely on me. You just have to see what I have marked. You just have to read that and prepare your for the mains perspective. That's it. Okay. What are the platform workers? Do the new labor codes protect the rights of the gig workers? Okay, so basically first we will have the discussion on the definition, then we will have discussion on whether the labor codes protect the gig workers. Does the code on Social Security 2020 differentiate between employee and gig worker? Okay, what is the status of gig worker? Is gig worker being treated as an organized sector, as an unorganized employee, or it is outside the complete nomenclature of this? Okay, have there been petitions in courts to legally recognize gig work and the workers? So is the gig work and the workers are legally recognized or not? So we need to understand that too. Okay, so just in one article everything will be summarized for you all. Okay, so who is a gig worker? The definition. Okay, gig workers refer to the workers outside of the traditional employer-employee relationship. There are two groups. Okay, mind you, there are two groups of gig workers. I bet that majority of you mustn't be knowing this, so please understand this very, very properly. Okay, there are two groups of gig workers. Number one, you have platform workers. You have what? Platform workers. So this is the first group of the gig economy, platform workers, and the non-platform workers. When gig workers use online algorithmic matching platforms or apps to connect with the customers, they are called as platform workers. So platform workers will rely on what? Platform workers will rely on apps. Okay, very simple, crude understanding of platform workers. So if you want to give one word definition of platform workers, so if any worker is connected via app to the customers, you will be called them as the platform workers. I'm again reiterating, platform workers and non-platform workers. So what is the definition of platform workers? When gig workers use online algorithmic matching platforms or apps to connect with the customers, they are called as platform workers. Those who work outside of these platforms, okay, when a worker is not connecting to the customers using platforms, outside of these platforms are non-platform workers, including construction workers, non-technology based temporary workers. Okay, so there are two groups of gig workers, platform and non-platform. Platform workers will use algorithmic matching. So if you order something on Zomato, you must be seeing notification that a delivery partner is nearby, a delivery partner is being connected, then the delivery partner is connected, then the delivery partner. See the use of words, guys. If you open up Zomato on your phone, Zomato, Swiggy, so you will get these words. It's a partner basically, okay? It's not an employee. Okay, so delivery partner is now reaching your doorstep, delivery partner has delivered your order. Okay, so the crux lies over in the use of words only. Okay, words that tend to change the world history. So words, whatever you speak from your mind, whatever you jot down, they are very important. Okay, jokes aside, let's move ahead. So those who work outside of these platforms are non-platform workers, including construction workers, non-technology based temporary workers. Okay, whether gig workers should be categorized as employees or as independent contractors has been a heated debate. So what is the crux issue? Whether the gig workers should be categorized as employees or as independent contractors. So let's assume that if I am working for Zomato, okay, if I am working as a delivery partner, so I am working on my own. Is Zomato appointing me? Is Zomato conducting an interview round for appointing me? No, I am approaching Zomato because of my socio-economic conditions. I'm not able to meet the needs of my family. I'm not able to meet my daily needs. So I'm approaching. So whether this should be treated as a formal employee structure or should it be treated as independent contractors has been a heated debate. Why? Because employees are entitled to host of benefits under statutes. So these are some of the acts. Now please don't get confused with the acts, guys. Eventually in your preparation, when you will do the Indian economy, when you will understand the regulations, you will be memorizing each and every one of this act. Okay, for now I am just plain simply reading those acts. All of these acts, they will come in your preparation, so don't get frightened at all. I know this becomes very confusing for everyone when the first go, but believe me, the more you will read, the more you will understand, the more you will tend to remember. So just focus on the names, that's it. Okay, Minimum Wages Act 1948, Employees Provident Fund and Miscellaneous Provisions Act 1952, and the Payment of Bonus Act 1965. Similarly, contract laborers, now mind you, contract laborers are governed under the Contract Laborers Regulation and Abolition Act 1970 and are also entitled to benefits such as provident funds. However, given the unique nature of gig work, gig workers display characteristics of both employees and independent contractors and thus do not squarely fit into any rigid categorization. This is the extreme core issue of gig workers. Why? Because gig workers will display characteristic of both the formal employee relationship, and they will also display characteristics of temporary or contractual workship. So they display the characteristics of both employee and independent contractor, and hence they do not squarely fit into the rigid categorization. As a result, gig workers have limited recognition under current employment laws and thus fall outside the ambit of statutory benefits. Okay, so whatever benefits a construction worker, or whatever benefit a employee will enjoy, a formal employee will enjoy because of the rule of law, because of the statutory status of those benefits, these benefits will not be enjoyed by the gig workers. So this is one of the major bone of contention with regards to the gig workers. Okay, now what is the proposed law? Okay, so there has been a regulation in the year 2020. Ministry of Labor and Employment introduced the code on Social Security 2020. Okay, under this code, a gig worker is defined as a person who performs work or participates in a work arrangement and earns from such activities outside of a traditional employee relationship. Okay, so according to the Ministry of Codes Social Security Code 2020, who is a gig worker who works outside the ambit of the traditional employee relationship. Okay, although the code recognizes gig workers, it distinguishes between such workers and the employees. While the employees have benefits such as gratuity, employee compensation, insurance, provident fund, maternity benefits, the code stipulates that the central and state governments must frame suitable security schemes for gig workers on matters relating to health and maternity benefits, provident funds, and accident benefits, amongst the others. Guys, this is the major distinction between the two. Okay, if you have a traditional employer-employee, so all of that is legally mandated, all of that is ensured by the government, that yes, an employee will get this from the employer. But what has been mandated under the Social Security Code, that it has been just said that the central and state government must function or must do something to regulate this. So mind you, all of these benefits are being entitled to the gig worker. So if I'm a gig worker, I am being entitled to all of these benefits, but none of these benefits are being legally entitled to me. I cannot approach the court if I'm not getting those benefits. I am entitled, but they are not legally binding. So if I'm working for Zomato, if I'm working for Swiggy, so I do not have the power with me to go or to appeal to the court. I do not have the power to form a labor union so as to appeal that please give us maternity benefits, please entitle us to a minimum wage, please entitle us to limited working hours. You must be seeing that the Zomato guys, they do doorstep delivery even at 2 AM in the night. So they are working under very precarious conditions and they don't have a voice per se. So this is the major distinction between the entitlement of benefits and being those benefits legally binding on the employer. Okay, I'm again reiterating, guys. According to the Social Security Code, it stipulates that the state and central governments must frame suitable security schemes for gig workers. Must do what? Must frame, okay, on matters relating to health, maternity, and all this matter. The code also mandates compulsory registration of all gig worker platform workers to avail the benefits under this scheme. So it's just registration, it's just regulation, okay, but none of it is properly ensured. Okay, so there is a difference being between entitled and being you getting those benefits on a statutory basis. Okay, so there have been 4 labor codes. Okay, out of the 4 new labor codes proposed, gig workers that are existing in India, gig workers find mention only on the code on social security. Mind you guys, this is social security. As a result, gig workers remain excluded from the vital benefits and protections offered by other codes such as minimum wage, occupational safety, etc. They also cannot create legally recognized unions. Okay, assessing the specialized redressal mechanism under the Industrial Disputes Act, denying them an effective remedy for grievances against their employers. Okay, so they cannot find unions, they cannot form unions, they don't have a local voice, and all these benefits are not entitled to them properly. Means entitled in the sense they are not legally entitled to this. Okay, so the gig workers remain excluded from vital benefits and protections offered by other codes such as minimum wage, occupational safety. So you must have heard that some of the Zomato workers, they do suffer from accidents and they don't have health insurance. So whatever earning they have done in due course of time, all of it goes in their treatment. So this is a very precarious situation, guys. you and me, like the people who are now working in the 21st century, we are heavily reliant on such apps. We are heavily reliant on the gig workers for ensuring our food security. You cannot deny this fact, guys. So basically they are the food securitors for us. Okay, so we need to do something to protect them. Okay, gig workers also do not have the right to collective bargaining, a fundamental principle of modern labor law crucial to safeguarding the rights of workers. So they don't even have the right to what? Right to collective bargaining. Okay, so this is what you need to remember from this article. And the last thing, that have the courts intervened or have the courts recognized? So yes, on September 20, 2021, the Indian Federation of App-Based Transport Workers filed a public interest litigation on the behalf of gig workers before the Supreme Court. The petition demanded that the gig workers or platform workers be declared as unorganized workers so that they can come under the purview of Unorganized Workers Social Security Act 2008 and be provided with statutory protection of the social security benefits. Okay, so and though the Supreme Court sought the center's response to this petition back in 2021, the center has not yet responded. So there is the petition pending in the Supreme Court. Supreme Court has sought center's judgment or has sought center's opinion on this or has sought center's response on this, but the center government has not yet responded. So this is the curious case of gig workers wherein you are entitled but you are not legally entitled. Okay, you have the privilege of, okay, on paper there is a code, that code is saying what, that please form something with regards to assurance of maternity benefits, health insurance to gig workers, and that paper is saying that central and state governments must do something for the gig workers. So you are entitled on paper but you are not getting in actuality. So difference between being entitled on the paper and having that in a form of statutory benefit. Okay, so this case is pending in the Supreme Court, and I hope that we all hope that the gig workers should have that recognition. Okay, recently a very good movie of Kapil Sharma is there, it has been come out. So if you get time after your prelims, those who are watching now, so you can watch after prelims, but those of you who are aspiring for prelims next year, you can watch that movie of Kapil Sharma too. Okay, it's a very fantastic movie and it showcases you all the difficulties of the life of a gig worker. So I will suggest do watch it and correlate it with this article. And mind you guys, this article is bound to come some or the other way in prelims or mains. That's my guarantee to you. So please make sure that you do watch that movie and you summarize this article very, very properly. Okay, so let's move ahead to the discussion of the today's articles further. Okay. So this article is basically perspective based article. Okay, wherein you all know the issue and you all know what's the legality of it. So I will be just quickly going through this article. There is nothing for you to understand this article. All of you, those who will be watching or those who are watching, you know this. I'm just quickly brushing up the things. Okay, de-dollarization, the race to attain the status of a global reserve. Okay, so this is with regards to that whether the US dollar should be treated as a global reserve currency, because US dollar is the primary trading currency of the world. Every country tends to trade in dollars because of what? Because it's a guaranteed hard currency. Okay, there is certain faith, there is certain confidence in the US dollar that US dollar will not depreciate beyond a certain level. So appreciation and depreciation of currency, these are the two parameters with regards to this article can be discussed or this article can be framed. So let's move ahead with the discussion of this. Okay, so de-dollarization refers to the replacement of US dollar by the currencies as the global reserve currency. This is the definition of de-dollarization. What is de-dollarization? That you are replacing the US dollar by other currencies as the global reserve currency. So just imagine Indian rupee as the global reserve currency. Okay, and we now do have digital rupee too. So if just imagine if digital rupee becomes the global reserve currency. Okay, a reserve currency refers to any currency that is widely used in cross-border transactions and is commonly held as reserves by the central bank. So the forex reserves of India, they are predominantly in which currency? In US dollar. Okay, countries have tried to dethrone the dollar as the global reserve currency for many decades now for various reasons, but of late attempts to de-dollarize have been picked up pace in the aftermath of Russia's invasion of Ukraine last year. So you all know that there is an ongoing war in the Russia and Ukraine, and you all know that USA has imposed heavy sanctions, and USA is primarily using what it is using, the weapon of dollar. And mind you guys, please understand this fact very properly. The war which you are seeing on the front of Ukraine and Russia, that is the war basically between the USA dollar and Russian ruble. Okay, USA does not want its dollar to get dethroned. USA does not want the Russia to become a superpower. So the war which you are seeing in actuality is basically a war between the USA dollar and the Russian ruble. Okay, so let's move ahead. Okay. It should be noted that the currencies of the economic superpowers have usually ended up being used as the global currency reserve. Okay, so if you have Britain sterling pound, if you have France franc, you have euro. So globally these currencies tend to be in the global currency reserve. Okay. It should be noted that when a country's fiat currency enjoys currency reserve status, it gives the country the power to purchase goods and other assets from the rest of the world by simply creating fresh currency out of thin air. However, such irresponsible expansion of money supply can cause debasement of the currency and eventually threaten its status as a reserve currency. So you just need to remember this. What do you mean by this? So when a country's fiat currency, what do you mean by fiat currency? So the fiat currency is the currency issued by the government of that particular country or by the central bank of that country, and this currency has got nothing to do with any value attached to it. So the value of this currency is not linked to any value of the commodity goods like gold and silver. So the value of Indian rupee has nothing to do with the value of gold and silver per se. Okay, so what is the fiat currency of India? It's Indian rupee. What is the fiat currency of USA? It is dollar. What is the fiat currency of Britain? It is sterling pound. What is the fiat currency of Switzerland? It's Swiss franc. What is the fiat currency of European Union? It is euro. Okay, so it should be noted, when a country fiat currency enjoys reserve currency status, it gives the country the power to purchase goods by simply printing more money. So if USA wants to buy something, it will do what? It will print more dollars, it will buy. But this will result into what? This will result into the debasement of currency and eventually threatens its status as a reserve currency, because the more currency you will put in the market, the more its value will start eroding. Okay, so mismatch between demand and supply. The US central bank usually increases the supply of dollars through various means to tackle economic downturns and also to fund the US government's expenditures. Okay, so if you have recession, USA government will pump more money. If you want to have more expenditure with regards to capital expenditure in USA, pump more money. Okay, but it should be noted that US's Federal Reserve is not the only central bank in the world that has been debasing its currency by engaging expansionary monetary policy. So you know that there are two phases of monetary policy. You have tier money policy and you have dear money policy. Okay, you have expansionist monetary policy and you have contractionist monetary policy. So if you are feeling that we are going in a downturn, you will expand, you will start spending more. Okay, because spending more will increase more consumption, so the consumption will be taken care of and hence the economy will pick up. So what USA will do? But it should be noted that US Federal Reserve is not the only central bank in the world that has been debasing its currency by engaging expansionary monetary policies over the decades. Other countries also have been expanding their respective monetary policies address their domestic economic problems. As long as US dollar does not debase its currency at a faster pace than other countries, the dollar may manage to hold its value against other currencies and hence its reserve currency status may not come under serious threat. So now let's say I am the central bank of Brazil and there is a central bank of USA. Okay, both of us are going for expansionary monetary policy because Brazil and USA both are now on the verge of recession. Okay, so let's say I'm competing with US dollar, I'm debasing, I'm going with the expansionary monetarist policy, but the global world will do what? Will they invest more in Brazil or will they invest more in USA? But naturally they are going to invest in USA more because they have faith in dollar more as compared to Brazil. So as long as the other countries do not debase their currency to a further extent, USA's debasing will still be treated as valid. So the customers, the investors will not lose confidence in the US dollar. Okay, so the line is this only: as long as USA does not debase its currency at a faster pace than other countries, the dollar may manage to hold its value against other currencies, and hence its reserve currency status cannot come under serious threat. Please get this point very properly, okay, because it's the sheer amount of confidence that people have in dollar. Okay, and very good example has been quoted in this article. Okay, this is with regards to India and Russia. All of you know that once the war started, USA imposed heavy sanctions on Russia. Once the war started, the Russian ruble quickly started losing its value. It depreciated to a very negative extent. Okay, so what Russia and India said, okay, let's leave dollar aside, let us start trading in India with India in rupees, and India will trade with Russia in rubles. Okay, so if India is importing something from Russia, so we will give Russia Indian rupees. If Russia is importing something from India, Russia will give us rubles. So we will trade in rubles and we will trade in rupees. But this has not translated. What has happened actually? A recent attempt by Russia to carry out trade between the two countries in Indian rupees rather than the US dollars has hit a roadblock because the value of India's import from Russia far outweigh its exports to the country. Okay, so Russia said to India that, okay, you being our strategic partner, the first strategic partner of India is Russia. It's a all-weather friend. It's a all-time ally of Russia. So Russia said, okay, India, let's trade in rupees. Okay, so we will buy anything from you. So if you are importing from us, please pay in rupees, and we will do the same with regards to rubles. Okay, but what happened actually? India's imports from Russia far outweigh the India's exports to Russia. So because of this, now what has happened? This left Russia with excess rupees in hand. Why? Because if Russia is getting Indian rupees, so Russia needs to spend those rupees, but India's exports to Russia are very less. So how can Russia spend those increased rupees in the form of rubles to India? Hence, this has left Russia with excess rupees in hand, which it was willing to spend on Indian goods or assets, and led Russia demands for the settlement of bilateral trade in US dollars. So guys, this is a very sad thing for India. Rather, this is a very good thing for US dollar. Why? Because India and Russia, in spite of they being such old allies, they being strategic allies, they couldn't materialize this properly. Okay, so again US dollar is winning. Again, the confidence is US dollars is increasing. Okay, and this should be noted that US has been running a persistent trade deficit for decades now. In fact, the last time USA ran a trade surplus was way back in 1975. Now, you need to understand this very properly, and that is the only understanding point of view of this article. What this article is intended to say you, that imagine that you are having a trade deficit. Okay, so USA is having now historical trade deficit. The last time when USA had trade surplus, it means what? That if USA is trading globally, so it needs to have more dollars with it with regards to the dollars on the other party's hand. So USA is basically in a debt basically. So debt in the sense that the other countries need to pay USA the dollars. So the last time when USA had trade surplus, it was in the year 1975, the Vietnam War. From that time, USA has been suffering from trade deficit. Okay, so there is a balance of payment crisis. Even then, US's dollar is enjoying what? US's dollar is enjoying the status of global reserve currency. So what does this mean? That trade deficit or trade surplus has got nothing to do with it being the reserve currency. Okay, why? Because the high level of trust that global investors have in the US financial markets, perhaps owing to the rule of law in US, is considered to be a major reason why investors prefer to invest in the US assets. So the level of trust that people have in the US market, the level of confidence that the people have in the rule of law in the US is doing what? It is helping USA maintain the position of its dollar as the global reserve currency. So this is very, very important, guys. So trade deficit has nothing to do with the status of the currency as a global currency. And a very good example of this, please understand this, a very good example is China. Why? Because you all know China is the global manufacturing hub. China, for instance, supplies the world with huge volumes of goods and runs a trade surplus, has been trying to make yuan a reserve currency. However, restrictions placed by the Chinese government on foreign access to China's financial markets and doubts over the rule of law in China have adversely affected global demands for the yuan. Okay, so what has happened basically, that China, in spite of it enjoying trade surplus with majority of the world, okay, you know, you have an initiative called as Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, okay, of China, wherein China is trying to construct a global market for Chinese goods, a global market for Chinese exports. Even then, China is struggling to have yuan as the global reserve currency. Why? Because the global investors, the global consumers, they don't have faith in Chinese government. Why? Because of its restrictions, with regards to access to the financial markets. And recently, as of last week, China amended its espionage policy too. Okay, so now Chinese government will monitor its citizens, will monitor its market with an aggravated stance. So it's basically all about trust. It is basically all about confidence. So you can use this, guys. You can use the de-dollarization perspective from the perspective of G20 presidency in India. I'm teaching you interlinking, guys. Okay, please understand this very, very properly. Okay, yesterday I introduced you to the first interlinkage with regards to the monitoring of Delhi pollution and Web3. So I'm teaching you the interlinkage of how G20 presidency can help India to increase trust. Because what happens is, if you don't trust any market, if you don't let go of everything, okay, when you will seek help from anyone, when you will try to invest with someone, when you have some trust with that person, okay, when you have some confidence in that person. So we can use this leverage of G20 presidency, we can use the leverage of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, okay, that we welcome the guest with our full hands folded, and for us, Athithi Devo Bhava, for us the guest is like a deity. So please trust us, we will make sure that you will get the best service in India. So the increasing foray in this sector that you are finding in the development of GIFT, GIFT, okay, the Gujarat International Financial Technical City, okay, GIFT City, it regards to this only. And India can utilize its stature of G20 presidency to develop trust. So whatever developments you are finding with regards to India's foreign policy initiatives, with regards to Indian trade sector initiatives, these are all with regards to development of trust. Even you can treat the opening up of Apple stores in India as a one good step in that direction, that now a country or a company like Apple, where the people from India migrated to work in the Silicon Valley, now that company is reaching the doorsteps of India. So we are having good trust in India too. So you can utilize this article with regards to that too. Okay. Now let's move towards the discussion of last article of today. Okay. And guys, this is one of that articles which I think is now important. Why? Because UPSC for the first time last year, it did ask questions on sports. It did ask questions on the achievements in the field of sports sector. It did ask question on cricket. So this is a very, very positive news. This is a very, very extraordinary news, guys. So you need to remember this news from ethics point of view, from case study point of view, and also you can quote the name of this person directly. Okay, the name of this question, the name of this person is Abhilash Tommy. Okay, who is Abhilash Tommy? Former commander in the Indian Navy. He has done what? He has won the prestigious Golden Globe race. The voyage of man-made. Why is Abhilash Tomy competing the race as stupendous feat, and how is this race different from others? So you have a race in the world called as Golden Globe race. What is this Golden Globe race? So this race is where you circumnavigate the entire globe. Just imagine guys, you circumnavigate the entire globe in a yacht. Okay, and that yacht has to be powered by only wind power. You don't have machines, you don't have engines, and you don't even have technology like GPS. You don't even have technology like modern day maps like sonar. Okay, you do have a satellite phone, but that satellite phone only needs to be used under emergency situation. So just imagine that you are sitting in a small yacht and you need to circumnavigate the entire world in that yacht. And this race is a 30,000 mile race, because you have to do a complete circle of the earth's circumference. So a very precarious race, and you need to complete this race in a stipulated period of time. And for the first time, a man in Asia, Abhilash Tomy, has won that race. Okay, Abhilash Tomy, a commander in Indian Navy who became the first Indian to go around the world on a silent boat solo unassisted back in 2023, has now attained another record of completing a solo circumnavigation under even more grueling circumstances when he made the podium finish at the Golden Globe race 2022 on April 29. He finished second after South African Christian Noshofer. Okay, what is GGR? The Golden Globe race is a non-stop solo unassisted yacht race around the world, which was first held for the first time in 1968-69. Just one of the 9 participants, 30-year-old British sailor Robin Scott Johnson, made it to the finish line, point sailing a boat named Suveli, which was built in India. So see guys, for the first time when the race was held, it was held in the year 1968 and 69. And out of the 30 participants, just one reached the final line. And what was the name of the participant? He was a British sailor, Robin Knox Johnson. Okay, and why this is special for India's perspective? The first race, because he was finishing a boat, he was using a boat called as Suhaili, and which was built in India. So the first person who won this race in the year 1968-69 was using a boat which was made in India. And for the first time now, an Asian man has won this award. Okay, so who has received the ocean sailing tips from John Johnston himself, became the first Asian to compete in the 30,000 mile GGR. So Abhilash Tomy has himself received tips from John Knox Johnson, who was the first person to finish the race in the year 1968-69, and he's the first Asian man to complete the race, and that race spans approximately how much? 30,000 miles. So you have to circumnavigate the entire globe. So guys, this means what? That if you have wit, if you have determination, if you have passion, you can do anything in the world. Okay, so you cracking civil service examination is like a cakewalk. If Abhilash Tomy can do such a big thing, if he can achieve this, you scoring good rank in civil service examination is nothing. Okay, so just trust me, just trust StudyIQ, and we will sell through this, and you will have your own Golden Globe race. You will have your own Golden Globe race which will be tailored to you, and you will be the champion of that race. Okay, so please remember this name, Abhilash Tomy. He has won the prestigious Golden Globe race of 2022. Okay, this race was held for the first time in the year 1968-69. British sailor John Knoxton, he won that race, and he won that race via a boat called as Suhaili, and it was built in India too. And Abhilash Tomy was assisted by that person only. And in this race, you cannot have any equipment which was existing after 1968-69. So any equipment which was pre-existing to 1968-69, only that equipment you can take. So before 1968-69, there was no GPS, there was no satellite phones. So you are not allowed to carry that. Although you do have a GPS transponder for safety issue, and you do have a satellite phone, but that is heavily regulated. You cannot use it for navigation. You have to sail only using your wit, only using your courage, your determination and understanding of earth per se. So that is what I need from each and every one of you in this preparation. Use your wit, use your grit, use your determination, and use your passion. And trust me, you will sell through this race too. Okay, so I'm ending the session today. These were the articles that are important. I'm again reiterating my name. My name is Pritesh Mathurkar. Okay, you can reach out to me on a Telegram channel called as HAZ. You can do a global search on Telegram at the Hindu Analysis Zone, wherein just after this lecture, I'll be posting these PDFs so that you can compile the PDFs in just 15 to 20 minutes and your current affairs is taken care of. Okay, so here I end the today's session. So tomorrow we'll meet sharp at 9 a.m. again for analysis of 4th of May of Hindu. And I hope that you are all enjoying this session. So see you all. Take care everyone. Have a good day. Work smart and hard. See you all on the other side tomorrow. Thank you.